My mother and father had 4 children. The 4 of us were raised in East Coburg. As a child, we watched the Kodak building start, the excavation of Mackay's dairy farm. It was fascinating as children, and the subsequent flea plague that haunted my mother day and night, that we got with the dust and everything with the north winds that blew in. I remember coming home from school one day with my mother in desperation with 2 inches of dust all over her bedspreads and things caused by the excavation of the Kodak plot. But fascinating as children to watch it appear and grow. Just before my second son was born, my mother-in-law suggested to my husband and I that we move in with them to save some money for a house, and consequently I was living in Coburg and within a stone's throw of Kodak when I noticed in the local paper that they were advertising for jobs. So that's how come I started at Kodak. And I worked there for just on 28 years. I started work in the camera production area in building 15. It became the cameras, reels and sundries building. So I worked on the electrical mods at times, and I also worked on assembling cameras. An electrical modifications area, they imported carousel projectors and those sorts of things into the country, and then they were rewired to suit Australian standards. In 1965, I was approached by one of the managers who knew I'd had office experience, and they were losing their lass in the office and asked would I like to go in and work in the office, which I jumped at. I only did office work after that. I did 22 years in Building 15, and then when I went to Building 4, I was secretary to the divisional manager. And then from there to Building 3, then I was exec to the divisional manager there. In all my years at Kodak, I never worked for a woman. There were women in senior positions, but not as managers of departments. They were all males. Our wages, I suppose, at the time were pretty low compared to the male wage, but that was just the way of the world at the time. I wouldn't have known what the great difference was until, I suppose, in the 70s when the clerical union, they pulled us all out on strike because they wanted equal pay. It was never equal pay as such, but a big increase for women's wages. When I left, I found that I missed Kodak terribly. It was a funny time for me. Even though I'd prepared myself to leave, I didn't realise how much Kodak and its people meant to me.